Hey guys, what's up? It's Uncle Zunky and welcome to a new video. So in this video we're going to be going over the new updated Vyrelords and doing a guide on how to kill them. So Vyrelords were updated with the most recent game update. They now give much more XP and also their drop tables are significantly improved. So what we're going to be looking at in this video is not only is this a Slayer task worth doing, but also, going over the pros and cons of it. And there's a lot of good things about Vyrelords now. They are AFK and I'll be showing you guys how to AFK them. And they do not require tier 90 weapons to kill, as you just use the blisterwood weapons that you get from doing the quest to access these. So for a lot of people these are going to be good, and also if you have an Iron Man or hardcore Iron Man account, I would recommend immediately taking these off your block list and possibly even putting them on your prefer. I'll go more into it later, but let's just say the drops that they have are extremely good for Iron Man. So without further ado, let's get into this task and show you guys how to kill Vyrelords. So some quick info on the Vyrelords before we kill them. The Slayer XP is decent. It's one of those good but not great tasks. Definitely nowhere near the level of Eruts or Calgarian Demons or one of those amazing XP tasks, but about 150k if you pick up drops and about 180k per hour if you don't. And the profit if you do pick up the drops is not too bad, about 1.5 mil to 2.5 mil an hour, although that's just an hourly rate, and keep in mind you will not be here for a full hour because this is a fairly quick task. Also, the charms are real bad, about 30 crimsons per hour and the occasional blue charm, and that's about all you can expect, but every task has to have some drawbacks to it, and definitely the drawback here is the charms. Some ways this task makes up for that, it's its quick points, and it's really AFKable if you want to do that as well. So this task definitely has a lot going for it, even though the XP and profit isn't going to blow you out of the water. So here are the gear setups for you. I have a mage and a melee setup. It's not recommended to use range here because to use range you have to use the blisterwood stakes, and they take a really long time to make, and then if you're not ability queuing you will lose the blisterwood stakes over time. It's just a massive hassle, so you want to be using the blisterwood staff for magic, which is the recommended setup. And if you would rather train your melee instead of magic, even though magic is by far more effective here, you can use a blisterwood polearm as well. I also have an inventory setup here. One thing to keep in mind is these do a lot of damage, so if you do not yet have access to Soul Split, a really good idea would be to take along a Unicorn Stallion for healing, or to fill your Beast of Burden full of food because they do hit quite hard. Enhanced Excalibur helps out with that as well. As long as you have Soul Split though, you should be completely fine in terms of food, and there is also an altar there for either players that are really cheap or Iron Man accounts that want to be able to restore their prayer, although it's a bit out of the way, so you have to get out of the area where you're killing the Vyrelords in order to access the altar. But other than that, just copy these setups or have something very similar and you should be just fine. So the route to Vyrelords is quite simple. You just teleport with your Draken's Medallion, which you will have if you get this task because you need to have completed the Branches of Darkmare quest to even be assigned the Vyrelords as a task, so that should not be a problem. And then you can just run outside of the giant place where the tree is located, and there's a large square with a lot of Vyrelords in it, and there are enough spawns, so you should be able to easily kill as many Vyrelords as you want with little running around. So there are two different ways to kill the Vyrelords. There's both the non-AFK way and the AFK way. Of course, the non-AFK way is a lot faster, but if you are doing that way, one thing to keep in mind is Metamorphosis is going to be very good here because you will be running around, so I would use that over Sunshine, and also make sure to use lots of multi-target abilities such as Chain and Dragon Breath for range, because that will help both aggro the Vyrelords so they get on you and you can auto-retaliate easier, and also do damage to multiple enemies at once. So the best place to kill the Vyrelords is to run around the town square, and for the most part there are going to be enough spawns where you'll never have to run around much, although occasionally if Vyrelords are looking in the opposite direction from you, they will not see you and will not become aggressive, so you will have to occasionally run around and tag Vyrelord spawns for them to actually attack you. Also, even though you're not allowed access to tier 90 weapons during this task, you have to use the tier 70 blisterwoods instead. You won't be hurting in terms of damage and accuracy. The blisterwood weapons are really effective against Vyrelords, and I had zero accuracy problems whatsoever, and also the damage is pretty similar to that of tier 90s because of how much of a damage boost you get against these creatures. If you are looking for a nice task to AFK, Vyrelords are one of the best tasks in the game to do this, as they will always be aggressive to you if you're not wearing the Vyrelord clothing from the Darkmare quest. So what you can do is stand in the same spot that I'm standing here, and the reason why I recommend this spot is, again, the Vyrelords do hit quite hard, so if you're standing out more in the open, you'll have more Vyrelord spawns get on you and you'll get overwhelmed. And also this spot has enough spawns where you should never run out of Vyrelords to kill if you're just AFKing with the basic abilities and Revolution. So this is a really good spot to stand if you're looking to AFK, train up your magic defense, or even any of your melee stats, and it is quite effective. So this is a great place to do it if you don't care too much about the drops as well. The drops, as I mentioned earlier, are very, very good for Iron Man because you get lots of snapdragons, red spiders, eggs, and renars, all materials which can be pretty difficult to gather normally, and they are dropped in pretty good quantities here at the Vyrelords. But if you're a main account, they're not worth a whole lot, and you probably, if you are looking for a task to AFK, are going to be just better off doing this. And of course the task is pretty quick either way, so this can be a nice place to eat your lunch and just hang out and do some Slayer at the same time. So let's go over the final rewards of this task. It took 18 minutes in order to complete the task, which means it's fairly quick. Like Mithril Dragons, it's one of those tasks that's good to do if you're low on points and doesn't take too much time. So the rewards, 47,000 Slayer XP, not too bad at all for such a short amount of time, and over 600k worth of stuff in the price checker. And again, all this stuff is really, really good on an Iron Man, lots of noted herbs, and also those red spider's eggs, and like nothing else drops red spider's eggs. So it's a very, very good thing that something in the game finally drops them, so you don't have to spawn them yourself. And also some final things to mention is the corpses are now stackable, so if you have not done the completionist cape requirement for burning Vyre corpses, this is now much easier to do because you can pick up the corpses without having to bank constantly. Anyway, that's all for this video, so thank you guys for watching. If you're interested in more Slayer guides, there's a link on screen in the description. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Farewell.